Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I have a kind of different video. I haven't done any kind of watercolor video in so long, any kind of watercolor kit, any kind of gear, because I've been so focused on gouache this year. It's my favorite kind of painting. So, I know I neglect watercolor on this channel quite a lot. However, in my own free time, I paint with watercolor all the time. Not daily, but very regularly. It's really good for quick sketches, quick little studies. A lot of times when I'm on the sofa hanging out or out in the conservatory, I'm using my tiny little portable painter micro kit and a little sketchbook. Or if I'm like running errands, it's really easy for that too. Anyways, I don't want to dwell on that too much. I am a multidisciplinary artist. I don't claim to do one thing only. I've always done all sorts of different things. And I love, love, love using different kits. And I have a lot of different palettes, lots of different setups, bags, boards, just so many little kits. And each one has a use. So today I want to talk about one of my newer kits, I suppose. This one is my Folio kit. When did I actually put this together? Was it last year or the year before? I think I did it specifically to get ready for my trip to France for my workshop. But my Folio kit has become one of my most used kits, especially when I'm traveling. Okay, I'm not going to waffle on about it. We're just going to dive right into this whole thing. In about 2 months, I am headed to France again. I'm teaching 2 back-to-back gouache workshops. But during that time, I'm also visiting a couple different cities. I'll be in Paris for the first time, and I have like a day and a half, so it's a bit of a rush, but I have been poring over all of my options for what I want to bring with me for those quick days of exploring and sightseeing and sketching. And I have to be realistic with myself this time because last time I packed so much, way too much. And on the days that I actually had time to go out and explore a city, I just was encumbered with a lot of gear, and it was so hot at that time. It was so sweaty. So this time I want to be very, very minimal. I want to be nimble. I want to move around a lot. I want to see a lot. And whenever I get a chance to like take a little break and maybe stop at a cafe or find some shade, I can sit down and sketch. Something that I always rely on are markers, pencils, pens, and just plain old paper. I have a lot of different like scrap sketchbooks, I call them, like junk sketchbooks, whatever. And I will just scribble in these. Even if I had 5 minutes to stop somewhere and sketch, I will break one of these out with just a pen or marker or something and just sketch something. Sometimes it's something really cool, like a lantern or like a little statue. It can be anything that catches my eye, a tree. And I love the freedom of that. So just deciding on a pen is important. And I have a lot to choose from, but a few years ago I made a video about a pen that I discovered called the Pilot Parallel Pen. They make a few different sizes. I'm sure I have one in here. This is the 2.4, and this is one pen that I would take if I could only take one pen. The only problem with these is that they do use a lot of ink because the whole point is the nib is extremely wide. So this is not even the widest one. There's a 6mm nib. That's just insane. That just drinks ink like crazy. So I kind of lean towards the 2.4 or the 3.8. And I love these because I'm able to do really quick like value studies, but also like filling in the shadow shapes really easily. This is the thing about these pens is they have a huge line variation. So you can get teeny tiny scratchy lines all the way to really thick shadow lines in a slight turn of the pen. So it's just the most versatile pen. If you only have one and you only have a few minutes, it's kind of like my lean on. I lean on that one all the time. It's my go-to option. So there's three types of painting slash sketching scenarios that I go through, that I experience when I travel. One is the main painting moments, like my demos for the workshops, painting inside. Maybe I find somewhere that is absolutely gorgeous and I have a while, like more than an hour to just paint. In that case, I would have my backpack with me. I would anticipate this is going to happen, and I would use my pochade box on the tripod with the fresh gouache and all of the gear. That's like the luxury setup, but I really don't set it up unless I have like at least a half an hour, or I would prefer much more than that. The second scenario, which is more common, is I am kind of out and about. I might have maybe the whole day to myself or with one person, and I know that we're going to stop at different places for like a half an hour to an hour, and maybe we're eating or having a snack, I don't know, whatever, sightseeing, taking photos. So that's when this kit comes out. Any size sketchbook would do. I like the little ones, but it's the little board that I have shared in a past video, and it's got magnets on it. I put a magnet on the bottom of my little Portable Painter Micro, so that pops on there, and then I just have one or two brushes. This is such an easy, lightweight kit, and the best part is that when it's all folded up, it all fits inside my bum bag, which I can wear on my hip or as a crossbody bag. And I always have a water bottle with me, either in the backpack, or I have like a carry strap for my water bottle, so it's always like hanging on my side. So I really like a bum bag because it means I can just wear it on my waist and it's out of the way. I don't have like everything hanging on my shoulders. So on a really hot day or excursion, that's really nice because I don't have like a big sweaty backpack on my back. So this is a really great setup. I also like this for the hotel because it's so easy to like set up and break down, and it just doesn't take a lot of room or thought, just set it up, use it, put it away. And then the other scenario, the final scenario, which is kind of becoming more common for me when I have visitors here and we are going to different locations with them for sightseeing, or I'm traveling either by myself or in a group, and it's like kind of a go, go, go situation where we're walking all over the city, we're sightseeing, we're going to museums, we're eating. It's not really like conducive to sitting down for a solid half an hour or more. And that's when I really like to be very lightweight. So I have my water bottle on my strap, and then I have something like this. And I also have like the Etcher Nano and a couple other bags, but I'll show you why I'm kind of preferring this one now. My Folio is so easy to unzip, open up, do a little sketch, zip it up, toss it down. And when I say toss it down, I mean I just have it on. Actually, I changed from a crossbody strap to backpack straps because you can buy these individually like online. And I got this originally for my Etcher Slate Mini and I can just use them on any bags I want to. It looks a little bit silly, but bear with me. Having it like this and then having my water bottle across my body is such an easy setup. And I like this one because I can adjust the strap so it's either up here or any length. And that's normally where like my bum bag would sit anyway. But I like it because it's so lightweight and it doesn't cover my whole back up here so I don't get as hot. I really struggled when I was in Spain in the heat. And a couple times in France too. I wearing a backpack really gets to me after a while. You can get different types of folios, and I've seen like the Traveler's Notebook or different brands sell them, but I haven't found a ton that are this sized that you can zip closed. And that's really important to me so nothing falls out. So let's take a look inside. So what I've got in here are my essentials. It's very minimal at the moment because I'm going to talk you through some of my ideas. But basically we have a single sketchbook, and I also have a scrap sketchbook in the back that's very thin, just scrappy paper. but this is my actual painting sketchbook. I decided that this is the perfect setup for using my Strathmores that I've kind of been saving for so long because I love them and I don't want to run out. But you know, this is the perfect size and perfect use for them. I've got one pen, and this is one of my newer ones. This was my souvenir I got myself in Spain. It's a little metal Coeco or Caveco Sport, and I love the color of this one. So I've also put purple ink in there to match it. But I like this one because it's metal, so if I drop it, it won't break, hopefully. I have a plastic one that feels a little bit flimsy, which makes me nervous. And I've got one mechanical pencil. This one happens to have blue lead inside, which I love to sketch with. In the back, now this is my new exciting upgrade. Check this out. So open the page, get ready to paint. Where are you going to put your paints? Good question. How about you just pull them out from the side? Look at this cool little thing. I've been looking for one of these for so long, and I think because 3D printers are becoming so popular now, you can get a lot of cool custom size, custom made things. And this little Folio palette folds away. It's held in place by the same straps that hold my sketchbooks in place, which is perfect. And I can just pull it out like that. It's got little mini ceramic mixing trays, and the wells are actually quite deep. They're deeper than some of my other little tiny like pocket Folio palettes. I don't really like those because of how thin they are, how shallow the wells are, but these actually hold a fair bit. So I am gonna fill this and show you guys what I decided to use in this. And when it's opened, this is the reason I love this sketchbook size, because it perfectly lines up with the side of my little palette here. And I can either paint on both pages or just one at a time, whatever. I'm really excited about this. It's super, super thin. And then when I'm ready to paint, because the sketchbook kind of like stays open like this, I can flatten it and just use one of these to clip it to the back of that. So now it's like very solid, very sturdy. Because the Folio itself has like a rigid board inside it, it's not like plastic or anything. It does flex a little bit. So the whole thing, the rigid board on the back of the Folio plus my rigid palette, this is like a nice, almost like handheld tabletop. I wouldn't want to hold it for too long because I would probably like hand cramp or a wrist cramp. The other thing I like about these backpack straps is that I can do something like this instead, where I have my supplies attached to the strap. The cool thing about having your supplies on the outside is that if someone else saw this and knows what it is, they know that I'm a sketcher, they're probably a sketcher, and it's a nice icebreaker. When it comes to brushes, I don't love using water brushes like this, but in a pinch or in a situation like this where I'm kind of quickly sketching, they are absolutely fine. I wouldn't really use them for like a longer session. Anything I want to be very detailed, or for like quick little pen and watercolor sketches, they're great. So these are the ones I like. This Caran d'Ache makes these really nice ones with buttons, so you can control the flow of water a little bit easier. So I would typically just put them here. And I like to sandwich my little ones between the big ones because these have little hooks that I can stick on there, make it a little easier. Alternatively, I could use a travel brush with a little water cup. I could keep a travel brush in one of the smaller pockets, and then when it's time to paint, maybe I would have this living on my strap here. So again, accessories on the outside, which is fine. But then I would fill that with water somewhere. And when I'm painting, I'll have something like this set up. This little water cup could go here, and then I could paint very easily. Again, it's just adding bulk, it's adding weight, and it's kind of like defeating the purpose of just having the ultra light, fast setup that I really like to have. This is kind of like even more luxurious than I really need. Technically, all I really need is like a tiny handheld sketchbook with a little mini palette, with or without a magnet clip. They make so many of these tiny palettes nowadays that with a water brush, this would be even lighter weight. So maybe this would be great for a day where I know I'm going to be going from museum to cafe to all the different sites, but I really want to get like a couple souvenir sketches in. This would be ideal. So something very extremely lightweight that could fit in a purse or a pocket super, super easily. But based on my past experiences sketching in cities, I really like to have like a rigid surface to press on, and when I'm drawing or painting, I like to have a couple different pens or brushes. And like having a palette this big is major luxury. I'm used to something much smaller than this, but I just love how skinny that is. That's going to be really cool. And I really like to have like one thing. So this is what I would use instead of a purse, instead of extra stuff. I can put my credit cards or whatever, like cash or what I'm using in the back. It's nice and secure, or I could fit like my little coin purse in there. And it's all inclusive. It's all one thing. And so I can just go out the door, go out the hotel, have a whole day in a city with everything I need in this little guy, except my water bottle and a separate strap. So I really like this idea. And obviously I'm going to be testing it out in France. Before then, I'll probably take it like into Inverness and give it a go. But for now, we need to decide what's going in the actual palette. First things first, we need a sticker. I like to put stickers on all my sketchbooks, all my palettes. And let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's like way more than I need. I love that I have a couple big ones. I'm gonna probably need to put my most used colors there. I have contemplated using gouache in this palette, but the thing I've experienced in the past with these really thin palettes is there's almost like too much surface area and not enough depth for the gouache to stay moist inside enough for that it tends to crumble and crack a little bit more easily in the thin palettes like this. I really don't want to have to worry about it crumbling and falling out while I travel. So I'm probably going to stick with my Daniel Smith watercolor paints because they're just so reliable in any kind of palette I've used them in, and they reactivate so beautifully. These are my standard studio colors, and I have a whole video about this. I'm still loving these colors. They've been incredible for everything I want to paint. This combination is just perfect for me. So my main thing will be figuring out what I want to put in my bigger wells. And I'm kind of leaning towards the blues and my like ultramarine, lavender, or maybe potter's pink because I like using that for architecture especially. I'm going to get my paints out and lay them out on the side. Let's just do a little swatch. I haven't cleaned this in a while anyway, so let's get these colors nice and clean. We've got buff titanium. My lemon yellow is horrifically dirty, but the beautiful thing about these dried watercolors is that if you get it nice and wet on the surface and then just run a clean towel over it, you can reactivate the pigment and clean that whole surface off. So now we should have some nice clean yellow, not green. Yeah, lemon yellow, quinacridone gold, deep scarlet, quinacridone magenta, potter's pink. Takes a little bit more effort to reactivate, but eventually it goes. This is the environmentally friendly brown iron oxide, which is basically like similar to burnt umber. Undersea green. Then we have perylene green. A phthalo blue is always great to have, or a phthalo green, I guess. Any kind of phthalo. Ultramarine is a classic mixer. Lavender is one of my favorites now. And then we have the Jackman's Summer actually, it might be, it's the Petal Shadows Soda Light Genuine, which is my darkest. I mean, I don't even need this many, but I have 14 spots in the palette, so I think that I'm just gonna go ahead and use them. I love, love, love this combo. I'm gonna try to do like a swatch in this order so that I can see if I like that, like if it makes sense. These are such good city colors, architecture colors, because a lot of times I only have time or only want to do like the line work with a pen and then the shadows or certain details, and these are so wonderful for stone, for different types of surfaces and shadows. So I kind of lean on them a lot when I'm doing urban sketching. Okay, does this make sense? Most used, especially in a city. I should have those in the bigger ones. And then this order, I want to keep phthalo up there so that it doesn't like ever bleed into the other ones because it's so strong. So I think this works. Actually, no. I think I want to put I want to put the brown next to Sodalite and then pink next to there so that these are more my warm colors. Yeah. Brown, red, pink, orange, and yellow. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. There is a method to the madness. This is the best birthday gift that Wolfie ever got me. Okay, one of them. I'm gonna squeeze all the paint into the wells, and then I'm gonna come back and kind of level them off, make sure they're not overflowing. I know I don't do a ton of watercolor videos anymore, but I do a lot of it in my own time. I do a lot of watercolor sketches at home, around the house, on the couch, just chilling out because I find it very relaxing. It is definitely a very quick medium, which is why I love it for traveling. It's very portable, it's very travel friendly. I would say more so than gouache. I mean, I do have my dried gouache palette, which is travel friendly to an extent. But I would say it's just a little bit more messy overall. Like if I'm using a water brush only, I would prefer watercolor over gouache, like in this type of scenario. It's the last of the undersea green. Then we've got perylene green. And we've got some Sodalite, which is an awesome dark granulating color. So that's another really good one for architecture. Like you can get real dark real quick, but also introduce lots of that granulation texture. So combining that with some of the others is beautiful. Apologies if my hand's in the way. It's a bit awkward. Well, that one was a struggle. I'm going to have to double check how much clearance I have underneath. I don't think it's much. I can't let the paint get too high, but then also it will shrink a little when it dries. I can see quite a bit of space around the lavender, so I may need to go back and fill that in when it shrinks. The beautiful thing about watercolor palettes is that when you pour the paint in, there's no rush against the clock to do anything with it. Like it dries and it's there indefinitely for you to use. I think this one's got some issues. We'll see. I don't want too much binder to come out because then they won't dry. I think I've decided instead of using lemon yellow, I'm going to use my Bismuth Vanadate Yellow because it's a little more opaque. It reactivates really, really easily, even if it's been sitting forever. Whereas the Lemon Yellow, if too much time goes by, it's quite a struggle to get a nice coating on the brush, just in this brand at least. So yeah, I'm gonna have a really strong lemony yellow option with this one without any of the struggle. And buff titanium is also great for architecture. It's got lots of good qualities. A little more opaque. You could even use it for a little like highlights here and there, but you can just mute down so many colors. It's also sometimes like the exact color I need for a building, for a stone. I'm gonna try to flatten some of these a little bit. I'll probably come back in a few days and fill in any of the major gaps. That will have to do. I don't see any huge mounds of paint, and I can see the clearance in here is very shallow, so I'm not going to close it just yet. I'm just going to like let that sit for a day or two. Okay, so now that we've filled the palette, I am going to set this aside for a few days, let it fully dry, fill in any gaps that need filling in, and pack that paint in there really nicely. That's how I ensure it will last a lot longer. And then I'm going to take it out for a spin. I'm going to paint probably a little bit in Inverness. Maybe I'll go somewhere else, but that's a really good place to test it out. In the meantime, if you have any questions or recommendations or ideas for me for how I can make this kit even better, let me know. And I really look forward to taking it out and trying my new palette with it. I've been talking a lot to my past workshop attendees about their different kits and setups, and a lot of them are traveling right now and showing their setups, and it's so much fun. And I'm realizing that like collecting little pieces of your gear and customizing it and making it perfect for yourself is a hobby in itself, or at least for me it is. And lately I've been doing a little customization for my dried gouache palette. Yeah, I love using a folio kit like this when I'm traveling, but one thing I would love to do is use my portable painter dried gouache palette in an urban setting, but without needing to sit down. That's the problem, is I love the full-size portable painter, but I can't hold that at the same time as I'm painting or sketching. So I came up with this weird idea for a little table, technically, not really a table, but kind of a table, but it's on an extendable monopod, which isn't the most sturdy thing in the world, but it does like do the job. And it can either be used when I'm sitting or standing up because it gets pretty high. And so if I was standing in a little like alleyway sketching a beautiful cathedral and I wanted to use my dried gouache palette and there's nowhere to sit, then what I would do is set that up next to me, extend it up to the top, and paint from that. It is currently not super stable because I didn't use the right magnets and I made the board too big, so I'm kind of gonna cut that down a little bit. So I got up and I knocked it all over. The sketch isn't ruined, but it's messy. It's got sand and dirt on it, and yeah, it's definitely not the sturdiest thing. I'm gonna get better magnets, and I guess I'll have to report back on that whole thing in the future because that's been like an ongoing little random project between other projects, and it's a kind of fun though. And I have like 2 whole months to figure it out. So my France workshops are gouache focused, so I'm gonna have like my pochade box with my proper big beautiful gouache setup, everything I love to use, and it's gonna be heavy and it's gonna be like a lot, but like when I'm off on my own just exploring the cities and towns and stuff, I really love the idea of having this really thin, beautiful little setup. I mean, we'll see. I obviously will report back after all that and tell you how it goes. But the best thing I can do for myself is set it up, test it out as much as I can before then. So I get really, really used to it. And then I can make any customizations I need, and just kind of see if it's going to work for me, or if I just have to revert back to using just a tiny sketchbook and a pen, which is fine as well. I feel like the thing I'm most attracted to in a city are statues and gargoyles and windows and doors and like the architectural details, and not necessarily like a whole building. And also I love shadows. I love just the beautiful shadow shapes that you find in a city. So I don't know. Okay, I'm really starting to waffle. Okay, before I ramble anymore, we're gonna wrap this video up, and then I will see you again soon for part 2, where we go out and paint. All right, thank you all so much for being with me, and I'll see you then. Take care.